Hello everyone and welcome back to round 14 of the F123 Lancia career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Qatar Grand Prix. 3 rounds to go of the season here, and all 3 of them are sprint weekends, so there are plenty of points still available, and we're going to need them. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live towards the end of last week from the Japanese Grand Prix, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. But yeah, a disastrous race for us. An engine failure quite early on means we are now 41 points back from Valtteri Bottas, so we need to average 14 points of Grand Prix weekend out of the Flying Finn. They're 12 points clear of his teammate. It is still both McLarens and both Red Bulls at the top of the table, but mathematically, even Oscar Piastri down in 11th place could still win the championship, and even more hilariously than that, George Russell down to 9th place after winning the opening 2 races of the season. It has been just a disappointing year for our fellow Brit down at the Merc team there. But yeah, heading though to Qatar, like we said, we've got 3 sprint weekends to go of the season, so all 3 of them are going to be bumper videos. But yeah, hopefully we can try and keep it clean and tidy today. Timestamps will be linked down in the description below, and yeah, let's do this thing. Get yourself subscribed if you're new around here as well. We're trying to hit 130k subs at the moment, maybe, just maybe, before F124 drops. As we move into qualifying then here in Qatar, as I've said so many times, qualifying pace, it has not been our strong point throughout most of this season, but now we have really just got to put that behind us and focus on extracting as much pace out of the car as we possibly can. We're still seeing slowly but surely more and more upgrades trickle in towards the end of the season. No effort has been put to next season's car, because simply put, there won't be a next season. No matter what happens, whether we win the title or not, this is the last season of F1 My Team I'm going to be doing on this game. And of course, we've still got a couple of other bits and pieces that we need to finish off as well here. But yeah, qualifying underway here in Lusail. Oh, it really is a track that is fantastic fun when you get it nailed. But so difficult to do so there, as Purple through Sector 1 will often round this lap. You've actually got to be a little bit technical with the way you use the battery to try and maximise the pace. However, I don't think... Well, I'm going to find out at the end of this lap whether we're going to need to, with this much more efficient Formula 1 car's 7th gear through the penultimate corner of the lap. It's been a pretty tidy one. But yeah, I think we will still need to try and do a little bit of battery management trickery on the second lap. As we open up the DRS though, we're just going to run out of charge as we get back towards the start-finish line. But we do go fastest there, ahead of both Ferraris. Well, less than a minute left on the clock then. Yeah, that lap's really come as a bit of a surprise there. 3/10 clear of Lewis Hamilton, as only Ferrari have been able to get a car around here under 80 seconds, apart from ourselves. So as we've got one more lap in the tank, we're going to try and see if we can continue to lower that record. But will the likes of Bottas or Lando Norris be able to improve? And find the apex through turn 1. That was nice and tidy, and another 10th immediately found. We've got so much grip and so much confidence here to really try and throw the car around. We'll try and be a little bit cheeky and save the battery up at the top of the circuit. Maybe a little bit cautious there through the hairpin, but hopefully once we make it through this much tighter left-hander, we're still going to be up in the green, and now we can know we can use the battery right the way to the end of the lap there. Lando Norris still only in P5 at the moment. Looks like McLaren have had a bit of a disaster here, but let's not forget as well, Mercedes power units always struggle around this venue, as there we go, Lando up into P2. So I believe unless anyone springs a huge surprise, as Charles Leclerc will get himself up on the front row, George Russell will join his former teammate in Lewis Hamilton up in P5. So Bottas has had an absolute stinker, but as we make our way through the final couple of corners, it is already pole position here for the Qatar Grand Prix. How much time will we be able to find those? We get nice and early on the throttle out of that final corner. We should be able to carry some speed right the way to the finish line. It is going to be a 1:19.3. That is P1.
Fantastic, you've got pole position.
Well, Valtteri Bottas there, a nightmare Friday night, down in P10 on the grid, ready for the GP. And once again, it has gone to showcase just how unpredictable the grids can be with this short format qualifying session there. Charles Leclerc, though, P2, 14 thousandths of a second clear of Lando Norris. 4 thousandths of a second between Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. But yeah, the margins might be tight everywhere else, but 4.5 tenths clear for us. It is P1 ready for the sprint race, but we have still got a lot more to do. Quickly though, before we get into this video, I want to thank all of the names you see on your screen. Without their continued support of the channel, none of the work we do here would be possible. And if you want to get your name featured on this list, you can click the join button or click the Patreon link down in my description below and support the channel from just £1 a month. You will also get access to weekly updates about everything going on behind the scenes, and also occasionally some early previews on videos. So yeah, a massive thank you to my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters, and let's get back to the video.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Firestarter lines up on pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Hamilton, Russell, Tsunoda, Sainz, Verstappen, Ocon, Bottas, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Magnussen, Perez, Hulkenberg, Albon, Liam Lawson, Ricciardo, Teo Pourchaire, Joe, Fittipaldi, and Ayumu Iwasa. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out. And what would any Grand Prix weekend be without the one and only Anthony Davidson alongside me, as always, to talk you through the action. Let's talk about Firestarter.
Well, it was a really impressive lap in qualifying to get pole position, but are they going to be able to hold on to the lead into the first corner with so many quick starters around them? I'm also looking forward to seeing the different strategies in play today. Those who are starting on the red marked soft tyre are going to have a little bit more grip early on, but they have to make it count before that degradation starts to set in.
Okay, mate, only 3 races left, and you've still got a chance at the title, but if we're going to win it, we're going to need some very special performances in every one of those 3, and it starts here. Let's see what you can do today.
Well, very, very wise words there by Mark Priestley. We have got 3 opportunities left this season, and we've got to make all of them count here. We're going to start this race on the mediums. I just find the soft tyres fall off a little bit too early, but a 10-lap sprint race here on Saturday night. Can we make it count? Can we walk away with a dub? Everyone behind me started on softs. That's not very good. It is 5 red lights, though. It's the lights out, and away we go. Try not to get any wheel spin there. We've actually done a better job than Charles Leclerc. So we're going to try and move defensive in towards that first corner. Leclerc, though, will say, well, I'll go the other side there, but we'll hang on through the first corner. A little bit of wheel banging, I think, between Hamilton and Lando Norris. Just a bit further back, but there we go then. Somehow we've held on off the start of this GP. Looks like everyone else behind us is, what is that speed? By Charles Leclerc up in towards turn 4 there. We know we have to run more downforce than the AI around this venue, but I didn't realise it was that much. In fact, I've even tried to compromise my wing setup this weekend, so we got a little bit more straight line speed against the AI. But Charles Leclerc, he does not care. Straight up into the lead he'll go then on just lap 1, as I think everyone else has made it through fairly calmly. Just trying to get the car rotated through this middle sector, get those tyres working and up to temperature. We've just got to try and stay in the range of the Monegasque driver. He isn't really a championship threat, but he's also not many points behind myself. I can already see on the minimap then, Valtteri Bottas has made some moves early on this afternoon. I think he's already up to about P7 then of this GP from 10th on the grid, so clearly a fast start by the Flying Finn. Will we be able to get a run though on Charles Leclerc at the final corner this time around? Then we've got to be very, very careful with our battery usage. As new fast lap of the day. Swooping around the outside of Charles Leclerc, and I think he's actually going to back out of that one. Clearly feels that DRS is probably well worth having over the next couple of laps, so back to the front we go. Nope, he's immediately going to try and get me up into turn 4 instead. Will he make it happen? I'm going to try and get our elbows out this time around, give him a little bit of a squeeze there. No contact. But we do hang on. I tell you what, as we approach half distance, though, in this sprint race, I think already the soft tyres are starting to feel the burn here. We've got Charles Leclerc out of the DRS range now, as it looks like Bottas is also not making any more progress. There's going to be a lot of focus on Valtteri between now and the end of the year. Although it must be said, Lando Norris still has got an opportunity and a big one at that. But we're now just starting to stretch our legs at the front of the field, as now Lando Norris will try and get around the outside of the Ferrari down at turn 1. Norris has gone and done it, so it is now a British 1-2. We've got yellows, someone's got issues, who's it going to be? Oh, it's a car way down the order. I think that is one of the Porsches. Maybe he's just gone for a spin. Let's go take a look. Riding on board then with Sergio Perez has often been kind of the experienced one in that Porsche team this season, but just gets a little bit too tail happy as he makes his way out. Don't reverse back into the rest of the traffic, please, Checo. And yeah, he is going to re-emerge. I believe that was at the back of the field. Carlos Sainz has just flashed up on the relative now, also on a set of the medium tyres, so I think he's going to be quite racy towards the end of this one as we run a little bit wide through the fast the triple right-hander. So yeah, Carlos Sainz and Red Bull, they've kind of played second fiddle to McLaren throughout a lot of this season, but they have probably been the more consistent team, and I would argue have got the two better drivers, especially when Sainz is firing on all cylinders. He's often had the better of Max Verstappen this year, but 4 laps to go with this sprint. We're going to be monitoring all those places behind us, but we're focusing on making sure we pick up P1. On the final lap of the Grand Prix, I think a Haas has broken down. Disappointment in the end for Daniel Ricciardo here, but for us at the front of the field, I tell you what, this is a statement of intent to the other drivers, not only for the rest of the weekend, but also between now and the end of the season here. All 3 tracks are fairly high downforce, but all feature a lot of fairly high-speed corners as well. And the way we have walked away from the field on Sprint Race Saturday tonight, certainly I think we'll be making a few other drivers a little bit nervous here for the rest of the season. But making our way through the final couple of corners, Charles Leclerc has continued to drop down the order right towards the end of this one. Carlos Sainz might get him right towards the checkered flag, but out of the final corner, 7 seconds clear at the end of the sprint race. You absolutely love to see it. It is P1 in Qatar. Well, there we go then. A British 1-2-3 come the end of the sprint race here, but 7.2 seconds clear of Lando Norris at the flag there. George Russell just beat out Charles Leclerc at the end, who hung on ahead of Carlos Sainz. 5 points immediately taken out Valtteri Bottas means overall now the gap down to just 36, and we are 2 back from Max Verstappen as we head into the main event. McLaren, though, a 46-point lead over Red Bull here, so they'll be looking still to try and cement that one before the end of the year. But we have got 29 more laps to go, I should say, here from Qatar. Let's try and strike whilst the iron is hot.
Welcome back to Qatar, and the desert sands of time are running out this season for some of our drivers. Lights out are just moments away. This, the 4th race in the Middle East. We're back here in Losail for a track that's 3.34 miles long. There are 16 turns around its unique 3-pronged shape and just a single DRS zone out of turn 16. It's fast and it's flowing, and there's a good overtaking opportunity with DRS down the long straight and into turn 1. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Firestarter lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Ocon, Hülkenberg, Norris, Gasly, Magnussen, Albon, Théo Pourchaire, Liam Lawson, Zhou, Iwasa, Fittipaldi, Perez, and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
penalties then for Lando Norris further back mean that hopefully we're going to have a bit of a clearer shot down in towards turn 1 here. But I was pleasantly surprised by how good the tyre wear was yesterday on the medium tyres. So we're going to try and start this one on the softs today then. Softs to mediums though is a very, very aggressive strategy. However, if we see safety cars or anything like that, this race is immediately going to get turned on its head. But lining up then on the grid side by side with George Russell, it is 5 red lights once again here in Qatar. A mighty long hole, but it is lights out and away we go there. A little bit of wheel spin that time round. Are we going to be able to try and stay ahead of George in towards turn 1? No. Get towards the top end there, and the Mercedes just has got a little bit of extra speed, but we'll go sailing right around the outside just like we attempted yesterday, and we will hang on to the lead then when all is said and done through those first couple of corners. However, this time around we're a little bit conscious of just how quick the AI straight line speed is up in towards turn 4, so we'll try and hold firm, and we will defend the lead of this Grand Prix then. So doing a slightly better job than we managed last time. Charles Leclerc already dropping down 1 spot there as the only driver seemingly inside the top group that has opted to start this race from the mediums. So yeah, whether he and Ferrari are going to try and do something a bit out of the box, or whether they just didn't have the confidence on the tyres there. He did really drop back towards the end of the sprint race yesterday, but we know just how much pace we have got over the rest of the field here, so I'm hoping we can try and use that to our advantage. Once again, that is a lot of understeer though, as we make our way in towards the final sector. I always forget, you know, the full tank of fuel on board ready for the race certainly make things a little bit more difficult through the opening couple of laps, and that will of course factor in to the tyre wear as well there. But it looks like Lando Norris hasn't really made any progress on lap 1, so McLaren maybe a little bit nervous, but we have almost got George out of the DRS. There we go then, by the end of lap 2 we've got George Russell out of the DRS range here, so a fantastic start to this Grand Prix. Maybe now he's going to be under some pressure from Sainz. Well, only on the end of lap 3, and already I'm starting to wonder whether we're going to need to try and change up our strategy here. The tyres taking over 6% a lap at the moment, almost 7% here, so trying to do 12 laps on these is basically going to be a drive to the tyres explode. We're a second a lap faster than Russell at the moment, who seems to be locked into battle with the Spaniard, as Carlos Sainz will make it through. But I'm wondering, yeah, if anyone is going to be able to take these softs as far as the team had predicted. Charles Leclerc might have taken the pain at the start of this race, but instantly it's looking like he's pretty comfortable here and pretty quick, as we've just got to try and open up this gap as best as possible, just in case the AI have got OP tyre wear. Ooh, safety car. What on earth's happened towards the rear of the field? And that does give us a lifeline then. But we've lost a Williams then, trying to piece it together, and an Aston Martin also went for a spin. But we are definitely going to take this as a good excuse to opt for the medium tyre. Well, riding aboard then with Kevin Magnussen as he makes his way down in towards turn 1. You can see he's just going to tip it in and just get a little bit too leery on the throttle on the exit. Oh, Liam Lawson goes straight into him there, so a monster shunt in this Grand Prix. I think someone else lost a little bit of wing as well in the process of that, but I believe, yeah, that's going to be Liam Lawson out of the Grand Prix. Is see having to pull over, massive damage to that Williams Lamborghini, and, well, Formula 1 cars aren't meant to collide head-on. That is a very, very scary crash. Into the pit lane we come then at just the end of lap 5. Let's try and make sure we get the car slowed down. We certainly don't need to risk anything as we make our way in, but looks like not everyone is opting to pit here. In fact, only myself, Verstappen and George Russell are into the pit lane, so everyone else wants to try and take their tyres a lot deeper into the Grand Prix. We are definitely going to have to stop again. So will we come out ahead of that Haas and the Alpha Tauri? It's going to be close on pit exit, but I think they're just going to have the better of me. So Fittipaldi and Zhou will move through. Well, it's the first time all weekend we're really going to have to deal with some traffic, but hopefully we can carve our way back through. Oh, Fittipaldi, suddenly, under the safety car, decides to peel in, and so does Sergio Perez. So we're going to gain 1 spot then for free under this safety car. And actually a couple more. No, it's only those 2 in. So strategy is very, very odd Safety car in then at the end of lap 7, and we're hopefully going to have some easy pickings to claim over the next couple of laps. Why are people pitting now? The safety car's coming to an end, and I think what was our race leader Carlos Sainz has immediately dived to the pit lane then, as well as a handful of others here. I've now jumped Alex Albon before we go green flag racing once again, so I'll let him by to make sure we don't get a penalty. That's going to leave me vulnerable to a Yumo Awasa. Oh, what's Awasa doing? Awasa's just locked up and ran into the side of me as well. So for the second weekend in a row, contact with a Japanese driver is going to give us underfloor damage, but chaos off the restart as no one knows what to do with their strategy. We've got so much more grip though immediately than Alex Albon. Down the inside will go of the Williams Lamborghini car. And yeah, despite the fact a few cars haven't pit, yeah, the tyre delta here is ridiculous. Look at the way we're able to pick up the throttle against the likes of Pierre Gasly to the outside. It's a rather scary place to be as we make our way up in towards the triple right-hander. We just get a wobble over the curbing. Gasly clearly has no intention of giving me any room back onto the road. And somehow we sneak underneath him on the exit of the corner. No one else then diving into the pit lane, as I assume everyone that's still out in front of us is on a set of the medium tyres even, as Albon peels into the pit lane behind. But suddenly now, yeah, the likes of Lando, Norris way down the order, and I've got loads of time to try and catch up again. I'm hoping Hulkenberg, our teammate, is not going to make my life too difficult, so we'll try and switch him up the hill. Can we get to the inside? Just about there. Make sure we don't lock up. And up back into P6 we go there. The leader is right there. Oh, we'll get down the inside of Oscar Piastri, but again, just like we saw with Gasly 1 lap ago, we're going to be on the outside by the time we make it up in towards the fast right-handers. But this time round, Piastri gives me the room. We've got the confidence to turn in.
The underbody's incurred some slight damage, but nothing too serious at the moment. Just be careful.
Yeah, I'm really not going to worry about that at this point of the Grand Prix mark, because still actually Bottas and Hamilton, I believe, are still both on soft compound tyres here, as well as Yuki Tsunoda. So there's quite a few of them that are trying to go uber aggressive on their softs, but yeah, the likes of Bottas, they got much, much bigger things at stake here, as both Ferraris side by side. Bottas wants to try and get around the outside. Sorry, Tsunoda wants to get around the outside of Bottas. We'll say thank you very much there, and now Ferrari wheel to wheel for the lead of the Grand Prix. But are we going to be able to jump championship leader Valtteri Bottas? Round the outside we'll go up towards the top of the hill. Will we be able to keep it between the white lines? Yes, we can. And up into P3 we go then. Yeah, that Ferrari driver is Charles Leclerc still, Ferrari's darling, but Lewis Hamilton trying to give him a run for his money here. Round the outside of Lewis will go. As I said, the grip difference at the moment is absolutely astronomical. And well, we were, what, 14th, 13th? When the safety car came back in, a few more drivers have pit. But as we now try and look round the outside of Charles Leclerc, we're going to be back to the lead of the Grand Prix here. Can we get it round the outside? Oh, Charlie boy wanted to squeeze me, but we refused to back out of it. Championship might be on the line, but it does not mean I give up easy. And suddenly now we are back to the lead of the Qatar Grand Prix in the space of 3 laps. Well, if you want any idea of just how much clear we are of the air at the moment, Hamilton now is already nearly 4 seconds behind me after 1 lap. That's why racing at Qatar is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, we've still got a lot of work to do though. We want to try and get these tyres to the end of lap 20. But yeah, tyre wear much, much less than the softs. Oh, there we go. Lewis Hamilton finally peels into the pit lane then. So he's going to be the first of that other gaggle in. But yeah, Bottas and Tsunoda, surely those tyres are going to puncture soon.
Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 7.8 seconds.
Oh no, I've done even more damage to the underfloor. I just absolutely smashed that sausage curb on the inside. That's going to make things very, very sensitive towards the end of the afternoon. But we cannot give up yet, as immediately you could just feel the back end starting to slide as Bottas now, Tsunoda into the pit lane. Russell and Verstappen here are immediately back into a really good spot. Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, I believe, yet 2 of the last dominoes to fall then, as well as our teammate Nico Hulkenberg. So everyone now, I think, has made at least 1 pit stop then in this GP. And yeah, that's given the likes of Russell, Magnussen, even Sergio Perez and Teo Porcher in their Porsche cars a huge opportunity. A lot of us still going to have to box again. There's only a very limited few that won't. But yeah, we've got to try and get these tyres about 5 more laps. Oh, George Russell then, he's back into the pit lane here for his second stop in the Grand Prix. So I believe he's going to go mediums to the end of the afternoon. Won't be long, I'm sure, before Verstappen and Magnussen follow him. But yeah, Qatar, this race just has so many strategies. Oh, Enzo Fittipaldi's into the pit lane. I thought he might just try and go a little bit longer than me, and then he might take the lead of the GP for Andretti, but apparently not. They could still be on for some points here, as most cars still very bunched up. We're the only one that is currently on the strategy that we're doing. But I got no idea where we're going to come back out once we pit, because I don't know if we're going to come out in some traffic or not. Well, at the end of lap 20, we are going to peel back into the pit lane then for our final set of these soft compound tyres. 70% on that front left wheel there. It really does take a beating around this track. But are we going to still re-emerge at the front of the field? I'd be very, very surprised if we do. But yeah, everyone else's strategies today just seems to be really, really odd here. I don't know. Well, I mean, they can't change the underfloor, so don't know if we're going to be able to get any of that damage sorted either. As we bolt on a fresh set of the softs. Come on, let me go. Are we going to be out in front still? I think we are. Hamilton making his way out of the final corner here. And look at this then. Strategy has really played into our hands. Nice and easy as we put the power back down. But we have re-emerged still in the lead of this Grand Prix. So we've got softer, fresher tyres than everybody else. Surely now we can just try and bring this home as Bottas all the way back up into P3 then. So clearly McLaren have done something wonderful. You never know, by the end of the year, fastest lap bonus point might be quite useful. We have already got that fastest lap, but I think we need to try and take another. Well, there we go then. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2. Will it be purple in all 3 sectors here to try and lower the 22.7? Yes, it will. And a 21.3. That should be enough to keep that fastest lap bonus point as our own. Now we just got to try and bring the car to the flag. Ooh. Late on in the day, Carlos Sainz, Lando, Norris have just spotted. About to peel into the pit lane here with just 2 laps to go. So I think AI now is starting to struggle on their tyres towards the end. And whilst we're comfortably romping away at the front of the field, are we going to see any dramatic late race pit stops for anyone else? Rounding the final corner then to start the last lap of the Qatar Grand Prix. They always say you should celebrate every victory like it's your last, and with just 2 races to go of the season, this might well be our last ever win on F1 23. We haven't taken many. In fact, in this Lancia career mode, we've had just 1 up to this point. I really did wonder before Canada whether we'd be a championship threat despite not winning a single Grand Prix this season. But it looks like everyone inside the top 10 is going to make it to the final lap without having to dive into the pit lane then. So I believe it's only really been Sainz and Norris that have been screwed over by the tyre wear. But that doesn't mean they're all home and dry just yet. Many times before, we have seen a late race incident or a puncture around this Qatar circuit. But ultimately today, we were just strong and decisive when that safety car came out early on. We've had the pace all weekend. Fastest lap to take pole position on Friday night. And then we took fastest lap in the sprint race and the victory. And here on Sunday as well, it is going to be pole position, fastest lap, and sprint race dub. No one else has really had a look in all weekend long. Even under that safety car period, we were able to get our way back to the front pretty soon after. As we make our way through the final corner, it's only win number 2 of the season. But the way we've done it, you'd think we'd won most races during this campaign. Out of the final corner, it is P1 here in Qatar. The championship fight is not over.
A nearly flawless performance here then, and a commanding victory. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today. So let's review the updated driver standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to give it to Firestarter.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. McLaren continue to increase their gap at the top. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, I said then, going into this one, we need to average 14 points a race out of Valtteri Bottas. This weekend, that gap cut down by 16, so we've certainly done enough here, but we obviously can't do a whole lot more at this late stage of the season. There, Hamilton and Bottas, though, the old Mercedes duo, join us on the podium when all is said and done. Their one-stop strategies hanging on only just at the very end there, ahead of the likes of Verstappen and George Russell. A big gaggle of cars, all very closely bunched up towards the end of that one. And Porsche, Sergio Perez bagging another point there with a brilliant drive from the back of the field. But ultimately, yeah, no one could get close of us today, and we have absolutely proved ourselves as not giving up in the championship hunt there. The gap now back down to 25 points as we jump both Red Bulls with that result there. Hamilton 50 points back, though, with 2 weekends to go. It is pretty much all but over for him. I believe mathematically, though, he is still technically in that championship fight. So it is 6 drivers still with a shot at the Formula One crown. Constructors-wise, though, yeah, McLaren slowly but surely pulling out that gap at the top of the table. We are just 15 points back, though, behind Mercedes. Could we do the impossible and jump them before the end of the season? But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula One returns ready for the US Grand Prix.